Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is community empowerment and the political process. And we're fortunate to have with us to talk about the ways that the community can be empowered during the political process, as well as what churches might be able to do in terms of bringing about a better understanding and more knowledge among the community dealing with the political process. And our first guest is Pastor KWalker from Nashville, Tennessee, and the second guest is Representative Brenda Gilmore from the Tennessee General Assembly. And let me welcome you, Brother Walker. And I'm not going with Kelvin again this time, Brother Walker, as well as you, Representative Gilmore, to this show this morning.
Good to be here.
And tell you how delighted we are to have the two of you here with us.
Here. Thank you.
As a matter of fact, let's have the two of you, starting with you, Pastor Walker, to give us some information about your background, education, and some of your experiences. And then we'll have Representative Gilmore to do the same thing, and that will be our first segment. And then we'll get into some real issues dealing with this particular topic.
Okay.
First, let's start with you.
Well, I'm Pastor KWalker. I pastor the Hands of God Christian Church right here in Nashville, Tennessee. We currently meet at the Millennium Maxwell House Hotel every Sunday morning at 10:30. Born and raised here in Nashville, Tennessee, educated in the school system of Nashville, Tennessee, up until the point where I got kicked out of the school system. But since that time, went into the Navy, came back, got a GED through OIC, and then from there, did some studies at Tennessee State University. Got incarcerated, went to the state prison system, did some further college studies there through Trevecca East Campus Prison Program. Didn't get to complete that because they pulled the program up out of the system because I guess they didn't want us to learn anything. But don't have a degree in anything, but just a measure of knowledge in a lot of things that pertains to life and living life. And that's where I am today. And that brings me to this stage today that we share.
Very good. And of course, Representative Gilmore, let's talk about your background and some important information for our audience this morning.
Okay, Dr. Haney. Well, I grew up in Gallatin. I'm a small town girl. Met my husband at Volunteer State Community College, and he and I married, and we will celebrate our 40th anniversary this December. And I've always been interested in the community. When I was a young woman, I was always the one who was arranging for carpools or volunteering to help my daughter in her school. So I think that was a natural transition for me to get into the public life. I've served 8 years as Metro Councilwoman, and served as the chairman of the Powerful Budget and Finance Committee. And then when I finished serving my 8 years in Metro Council, I was so interested in being a public service that I continued to the General Assembly and was elected August 2006 and just completed my third term and was elected again this August 2008.
And so you're really into the political process now.
I enjoy it. It sounds kind of hokey, but I really enjoy being at the table when the decisions are made, and I enjoy helping people, helping them be the best that they can be.
As a matter of fact, that's what we're trying to do with this show. That is to show people how important it is to be at the table.
That's right.
When the decisions are made. And if they are at the table when the decisions are made, then they are further empowered.
Exactly.
So you can empower the community.
Someone told me this. They said, if you're not at the table when the decisions are made, then sometimes you end up being eaten up as a sandwich.
Very good.
So I think that that's probably true. If you're not there to help make those decisions, other people make them for you. And so we encourage people to get involved. If you, first of all, if there are good people out there, I encourage them to run for elected position. And if they're not interested in running for elected position, then help other good people who are community minded run for position. And if you don't want to do either one of those, then vote. And voting is so important, and as we see around the country, there are those that are trying to make it harder and harder for people to vote. And in Tennessee, we passed the voter ID law a couple years ago, which means that you have to have a photo ID before you can vote. And people think that's relatively easy to get, but sometimes it is not. Particularly poor people, African Americans, minorities, sometimes even women is very difficult because you have to have your birth certificate, and it's not always easy to get your hands on your birth certificate. So once you have your photo ID, you get registered, I would say don't let any election pass by. Make sure you vote. And then when we get elected, hold us accountable. A lot of time people come to see me and they're just social. And then they say, nice seeing you, Brenda, and then they leave. But really, if there's an issue that involves you, I tell people, hold me accountable. Tell me how I'm going to vote on that issue.
Very good. Of course, let's take this first commercial break, Representative Gilmore, and then we'll come back and we'll deal with the church's involvement. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.